Welcome to the 6 News. Today I have the privilege of having Italian Consul General Gianluca Alberini. Mr. Alberini, welcome to the Diplomats.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with the history of our relations. Turkey and Italy have a long history of diplomatic relations. Can you tell us about this history?
Yes, we do have a very old diplomatic relationship with Turkey, with the Ottoman Empire. Italy is a relatively new state, actually. It's only 150 years old, but the previous states that existed on the Italian soil had relationship with the Ottoman Empire for many, many centuries, notably the Genoese and the Venetians, but also the others, the Tuscan states or the Kingdom of Naples.
And I was told that this was the first historical mission in Istanbul. Is that so? It
is probably the oldest existing mission in Istanbul. The Venetians settled in this palace, which is still today known as Palazzo di Venezia, Venediktsaray, the Palace of Venice, in the beginning of the 16th century, 1500, 1520 probably. They used this palace as a summer residence in the beginning because the residence in Galata was too noisy and there was too much traffic. Something that is very common to Istanbul even nowadays. So they moved to this area, which was an area of green fields, actually of vineyards, and they used it as a summer residence for a while, and then they settled permanently. And since then there has been a diplomatic presence in this area. Of course, the Venetian Republic fell to Napoleon's army in 1797. So the French ambassador came in, and then the Austrians came in, and the Austrians kept this palace until 1919, when finally it was given back to Italy. Our military troops entered this palace at the end of the First World War, and so it was finally reunited to its motherland, we could say.
Your Excellency, another common point in our history, in our common history, let's say, is the presence of Italian nationalists before Risorgimento in Istanbul. How Italians in Istanbul contributed to Risorgimento?
Yes, it's very interesting because many Italian patriots, and not only Italians, but other patriots from Europe, from Hungary, for instance, they took refuge in Istanbul, which was a very multinational city open to various influences, and many came to reside and work for the Italian Risorgimento, for the Italian unity over the years. We can mention, for instance, Garibaldi. Garibaldi, as a sailor, settled here in Istanbul, and he created a lot of relationship with the Italian community here in Istanbul. Of course, at that time there was not such a thing as any unified Italy, as we said, because Italy unified only in 1861, but there were many Italians from various Italian states, Italians from Genova, Italians from Torino, Italians from Venice, Italians from other areas. And they created several institutions, among which I wish to remember the Italian Workers' Society, which is still existing today. They have a beautiful building on Istiklal. And this Italian Workers' Society, it was not only an association to help the Italian workers, but was also an association that promoted the Italian ideals of unity. They have collected funds, and they've also recruited fighters for the Italian independence wars. Their palace, they still keep the handwritten letters by the honorary president, which was Giuseppe Mazzini. Giuseppe Mazzini is the thinker of the Italian Risorgimento, and by the president Garibaldi, which was the famous military leader of several wars and revolutions around Europe and around the world.
Now that you mentioned the wars, Ottomans and Italians, they fought together in Crimean War. And what elements do we have today relating to that part of our history?
Exactly. The Crimean War is a very important stage for the Italian unity. It was a decision by the Prime Minister of Piemonte, of Torino was the capital, the Prime Minister Cavour, to send troops to fight along with the Ottoman Empire because they wanted to gain international recognition. So he sent an expeditionary corps from Genoa. He took off from Genoa and he passed from Istanbul and arrived to Crimea, of 15,000 men, which was a pretty large contingent for that time and for such a small state as Piemonte was. So the Piemontese soldiers fought along with the Ottoman troops and of course the French and the British, and they now are resting, the fallen soldiers are now resting in a cemetery here in Istanbul, in Feriköy, where we have an important monumental tomb dedicated to this, in memory of these soldiers. And this year we had several ceremonies to commemorate those fallen soldiers, which fought a common war with the Ottoman Empire, but they were also the first fallen of the Italian independence war, because thanks to this war, Cavour, the prime minister, was able to put the question on the table of the big powers, saying that we have an issue here. Italians want to become one nation, one country, and a goal that we achieved a few years later.
I think at this stage we can now talk about current relationship between the two countries. What is the current volume of trade between Italy and Turkey?
Well, it is important. Italy is the 4th or 5th commercial partner of Turkey, with about 16, 17 billion exchange trade. In every sector. I mean, we export anything to Turkey, and we import anything from machinery to agricultural products, from textile to mechanical components. We are also an important investor in this country. We have joint ventures that were set up many years ago in the industrial sector, for instance in the automotive with Fiat and Pirelli. The first Turkish tire was produced by Pirelli, and Pirelli is now producing the Formula 1 tire here. Fiat has one of the largest plants it has in the world with 400,000 capacity, and is producing here some models for the Turkish market and for export. And some models are engineered here. But along with the large and big companies, we also have mid-sized companies that have invested in this country, and also the very small one. Why? Because probably we have, or surely we have some common grounds. I mean, the way we do business and the importance of the family in the business world is the same. We share this common way of working and dealing. So we always find ways to agree and to cooperate. Not only in Turkey, because now Italian companies and Turkish companies are going together abroad. For instance, Italian companies and Turkish companies are working together in some construction in Poland or Russia or even other countries. And why? Because we have complementarity in our structures, and we can take advantage of this and go together to third markets.
Despite the volume of our trade relationship, we still have this visa issue. Is there any policy drafted by Italian government to relax the visa policy towards Turkey?
Yes, we do support visa liberalization. We do support starting discussions for it. It was stated very clearly by our Minister of Foreign Affairs when he was here a few months ago. It is something that we want to solve. Let me remind that from 1954 to 1997, so for over 40 years, Italy did not implement visa requirements for Turks. We started to implement visa requirements because Italy entered the Schengen system. We try to ease as much as possible the procedures. Of course, we are bound by the Schengen regulation, but the number of visas that we are issuing is growing very fast. When I arrived the previous year, we had issued 52,000 visas. During my first year here in Istanbul, we increased this number of 35%, and we issued 67,000 visas. This year, we are going to increase even more, 20 or 30% more.